Hey guys. So let's see. You'll be getting this cocktail on day 56 of lockdown. And what are we calling this one? We're going to call this one the Crust Fund for reasons. So last week we did a smash, which was part of an old family of drinks. But they've mostly gone away. The sort of remaining member of that family of drinks is the mint julep. So today we're going to do something called a crusta, and a crusta is weird in that there actually aren't any really remaining members of the family. Some people will. The drink goes back to like the 1860s. It is a development on something called the fancy cocktail, because back in the olden days, the names for drinks would be like the whiskey cocktail, the rum cocktail, and this one was the fancy cocktail. The fancy cocktail was called that because it got a garnish. A big lemon peel garnish. So the Crusta was originally a brandy drink, and if you get it anywhere here in the U.S., it's probably still going to be a brandy drink. It originates in New Orleans. It's older than the Sazerac, which is pretty old, the sort of traditional New Orleans drink. Some people would say that the sidecar is the sort of remaining descendant of the drink, but that's not quite right. It has a little bit in common with tiki drinks, but that's not quite right either. But anyway, let's get to it. It's traditionally a brandy or cognac drink, which is part of the reason it went away. There was, just before Prohibition, I found this out today. Just before Prohibition, there was a grape blight in France. And as you know, you can't distill like brandy or cognac unless it's French grapes. So brandy and cognac went away for a couple years, and then Prohibition came, and it wasn't being sold in the U.S., and it never really had a huge comeback. So it's a kind of a weird drink, and let's try it out. So we're doing it with cognac. I'm using H by Hein, and again, as usual, I'm making two. So we're going to go 2 ounces of cognac. This is where it starts to get weird. Next, we're using some gin, and I am using Uncle Val's Restorative Gin because I'm a fan. I also like their botanical gin is very, very nice for a martini gin. This one's a little milder. It's not a London dry gin. It's a little bigger than that, but we're going to use 1 ounce of that. So we've got 2 ounces of cognac, 1 ounce of gin. Now, it continues to get weird. A traditional Crusta recipe calls for orgeat, which is generally in its current form, it's an almond syrup. But orgeat actually means barley, and it was something that bartenders developed to have something that was shelf stable rather than milk. So it was like a barley milk, but sometimes it's made with almonds. I'm sort of taking the long way around the barn here to say that one of our participants has a nut allergy, so I had to figure out something to sub in for it. So we're going to use Kahlua. So now you're saying to yourself, Bob, that is a bunch of weird stuff you're putting in that there drink. And the last bit is some lemon juice. We're going to go 1.5 ounces of lemon juice. That's not actually the last thing. There's one more component, and that is bitters. The traditional recipe calls for Angostura. We're using the Fee Brothers, just standard old-fashioned aromatic bitters. It has a little bit of a sort of more cinnamony note to it that I really like. So we're going to go 3 dashes of that for no particular reason. So that, like I said, it's a weird combination of stuff. But sometimes that yields really cool results. So we're throwing that in a shaker. All right. Now, the reason the drink is called Crusta is because we're going to, first of all, it's going to be served in a wine glass. And Crusta traditionally gets a sugared rim, so just swiped it with a little lemon wedge, dipped it in some sugar, hence the fancy. And again, I'm making 2, so I'm going to do it twice. The full traditional recipe for a crusta calls for you to peel the entire peel off a lemon in one long strip and serve it with a drink. But nobody's got time for that. So 2 sugar rim glasses. I'm going to put fresh ice in those carefully. And I'm going to pour. It is a weird dark color, which is kind of exciting. And there you go. So you can't quite see it because it's, my computer's camera kind of sucks. It's sort of an iced tea color with a nice sugared rim. And we're going to try it out. I'm going to pull back the bitters a little for you guys. I like that. It's weird. It's definitely an old-timey cocktail, and it may not be something that you're used to, so this may not be your favorite, but I think it's an interesting drink. And I did want to try something new, and that will be on y'all's porches tomorrow at some point, whenever Story and I get our acts together. Thank you guys. We'll see you soon.